Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dr. Music Podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the subscribers. If you are not a subscriber, please consider hitting that button so I can bring you great guests like the person I have today, the great Mr. Mark Farner. Mark is a co-founder, original singer, songwriter, guitarist for legendary rock band Grand Funk Railroad, legendary American rock band Grand Funk Railroad. That band sold more than 10 million albums in 2 years at the beginning of the 70s. They sold out Shea Stadium in 72 hours. That's a feat that took the Beatles 7 weeks, just to give you some perspective. They would go on to have 8 top 40 hits, 2 number 1s, sales more than 25 million records. Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Of course they're not. Mark has also had great success as a solo artist, especially in the contemporary Christian genre. Mark has just released a single in advance of a brand new full-length record. That full-length record, of course, called, aptly titled, Closer to My Home. It comes out on November 8th. Mark, it is an absolute honor to have you. Thank you so much.
Scott, thank you, and it's good to be here with you.
It's fantastic to have you, man. And look at all that music behind you. So much history there. I can see it. It's overwhelming. When I think about your career and all that you've done, that what I said in the intro, just the tip of the iceberg for you. How, does it feel the same making music now as it did when you were in your 20s?
No, it feels a little older. A little older, yeah. 55-year anniversary of I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home. But Scott, the re-record that I did on this, I had to do it because I'm now I'm not in A440. I mean, A440 became the American standard for tuning in 1953. Prior to this A440, it was A432. That's where I have been for the last at least 15 years, all my live performances and what I've been recording, including Closer to My Home, this new album. Everything is in 432, and it was such a blast to cut. I'm Your Captain. It's the soldiers' favorite song. I mean, and Vietnam veterans made it their #1 song, and a lot of people hold it near and dear. But to now put it in 432, because I think so much of the solfeggio scale, because it's peaceful, it's God, it is tranquility. It mixes with every frequency in our universe, and it's just apropos that this song was re-recorded at this frequency to bring the love that is meant for those who listen.
Yeah, and the song is, there's American Pie and Cats in the Cradle and Hey Jude and I'm Your Captain. I mean, it's a masterpiece. And when I saw it, I wondered, why would he redo this song? It's the perfect song. But you're the artist, you're close to it. And I thought, was there something in it that always bothered you? There was a note out of place and you didn't want to do that. It wasn't anything like that.
No.
No. Yeah.
No, but I had fun. I played the bass on this version and guitar and sang. But we had a drummer, Josh Egan, who is Mark Slaughter's friend and childhood, buddy.
Yep. Been on the show. He's genius, the guy.
Oh yeah, and lovely person to work with. He made a tempo map of the original version, and as you know, brother, back then we had no click tracks. We were playing to the drummer. Everybody recorded the rhythm of, if the drummer, if he was rushing a fill, we all had to anticipate that and get there the same time he did, and he was always a little ahead.
Right, right.
So that was what was going on then, and now everybody, they're laying it to a click track, and then they hit the button that says humanize. Can you imagine a button that says humanize? I would rather just do it human and omit the having to do it any other way.
Right.
Uh, yeah, so uh, with Josh playing the drums, and he played Ludwig drums, the same as that were on the original album. And I think he did a fantastic job on the drums. And the whole song came together. It just felt good, man. Everything that we did, there was nothing that was like, oh my God, I wish I could have done that again. No, we just did it. And oh, yes, thank you, Lord.
It
Oh,
is. It's beautiful, man. I mean, it's great. It's always great to hear that song. And especially of course by yourself. It's always great to have that song. Just a masterpiece. Anything specific, specific intent with the record? I noticed that it seems like a very personal record. A lot of these songs are, and you always write that way, but this one maybe a little even deeper into your personal life. Was there a specific intent behind this record? Something you wanted to say?
well, each song has its own specific intent and its own specific groove. There's so many things to think about, and so many songs that people have heard. I just wanted there to be the love in here, especially now, because we really need love. We really need
Sure.
love, and love is defined by forgiveness, and that's really what it's all about, what life should be about, because we're only here for a little while, brother, and we got to get this right. We have to get it right.
Yeah.
And that's this music. I think that is the underlying tick, that keeps this, it just ties it together. It's the thread that ties each song. But you're right as about the personal side, especially like Tiny Fingers.
Yes.
That is, it was done without any drums or without a bass. It was just my friend Paul Ojibwe, who is a Native American, and playing keyboards, and myself playing acoustic guitar and singing. And it's very personal because it's about my son. It is an experience, a life experience that I had, and I continue to have every time I hear this song. And I have to tell you, brother, it was tough singing this song.
Can't
I
imagine.
I wrote it years ago. I wrote this song, and my friend Paul, who played the keyboard on it, for years has been saying, Farner, you idiot, you need to record that song. You know, uh,
Yeah.
we we lost our son Jesse in 2018 on July 4th. He was quadriplegic on life support, lived here with us in the house, and my friend Paul that played the keyboard on it, his daughter was going through some rough times, and brother, she passed away.
Oh,
So
so sorry.
while we are doing this song,
Wow.
it was such an emotional uh I mean, just fighting the tears all the time. No, hey man, we're here, we got to record this. But I'm telling you, when we got it done, finally got it done, and we sat there and I hit the button to play it, Paul and I embraced, and brother, we bawled our eyes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a cleansing that I experienced
Yeah.
and he experienced. We experienced together that I waited this long, and now I know why.
Yeah. And when I put the record on, and there are a lot of personal songs, um, but I got to that, and it's towards the end of the record, and I felt that. I felt you embrace. I felt those tears. And I've lost a son myself. We had a stillborn, so I can
God.
relate with that. And it's hard to listen to. I can't imagine you said singing that is very difficult. Listening to it is very difficult. And but it's lovely. It's I love my tears. You know what I mean? It makes me human. It's my humanize button.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for that song. That's
My
that's
abs my absolute pleasure, Scott.
it is a wonderful, wonderful song. It is a great addition to this record. It's so special. It really is. I when I read the title, Closer to My Home, and I hear the song, of course, home for me, and when I listen to it, is heaven. Um,
Mhm.
when you wrote the song, was home the same place it is now? When you wrote, I'm your captain back in the day, um, and you're singing, I'm getting closer to my home. And Vietnam going on there, and that of course had an inspiration, an influence on the song. Uh, is there the same meaning when you're singing it today? Where's home?
Home is where the individual who listens to that song, because there was no video,
Right.
that the each individual has her own visual, if you will. It's our imagination, God-given imagination. A friend of mine who was a DJ at WNEW in New York City told me, he said, Farner, we took 100 different people. We took their definition of the bridge over troubled water by Simon and Garfunkel. That's it's a
Master.
deep, man. So he told me we got 100 diversely different definitions. No two were even close. Close. And dude, that spoke to me in a big way. I'm glad there was no video for "I'm Your Captain" closer to home. And so it is up to the individual who listens and closes their eyes and imagines each transition, each chord change, each expression, each verbal, the lyric where it's taken them. It's up to them where that home is, and I would not ever try and establish where that might be.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and it is. Home is different for everybody. The translation is, and that's the beauty of it. It's for us. It's for us to determine. It's a great thing. It really is. When you think back to those great Grand Funk songs, and the place you were writing from then is probably a different place than you would write from now. Maybe not. Do you still relate with all those songs? Is there anything that makes you in that early Grand Funk catalog? Is there anything that kind of you look at it and go, "Ugh, what a dumb young kid I was," or what was I thinking when I wrote that? Is there anything like that?
Not really, Scott. I
Yeah.
I was there at that time in my life, experiencing that part of my youth and the experience that I was having. What a blessing, man. 20 years old
It's
and
so great.
having million selling albums. What a blessing, dude. I I am humbled,
Unbelievable.
just by the experience, the world education that we got from traveling, brother.
Yeah.
Meeting all these different people in their different cultures, and they loved the music and they wanted to give us food to feed us. You know, it's been great. And there's two things I love to do, and both of them is eat.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get the size by accident, you know.
That's great.
It's yeah, and that's so great. I mean, what's it like as a 20-year-old? You step out in Shea Stadium, selling out, people are there, they're hungry for you. There's riots at your shows. I mean, it's the Beatlemania, Grand Funk Mania at that time. You're 20 years old. It's got to be overwhelming to step out in front of, 80,000 people all the time, and have this reaction. What, I mean, was there butterflies? There has to be something, you go out there and you kill it. I see some of that film and it's just, I mean, this band there's really I really can't equate Grand Funk to anything else. Three guys go out there and they're killing it. I mean, absolutely jamming and killing it. Uh, when you're stepping out onto that stage before you hit a note, what's going through your mind? Is it a surreal kind of thing?
It's a thankfulness. I always thank God before I took the stage. I still do today, but my band, Mark Farner's American band, my guys, my players, my road manager, my stage manager, the guitar tech, we all pray and invite, because God is love. It's we invite God to do God's thing and to go through the audience, to touch hearts and to anoint our voice. Let our voices speak some hope. Let our voices speak some of this love. And thank you for the talent you've given us. And we want you to receive the increase of the talent that you've given us in this show. And we give it all. And so if you humble yourself like that, and you're not living up to some kind of character that you have imagined in your mind, then you just ride the waves of the love of those people that loved every word that you were singing. They loved every beat of the song that made them want to dance. And there's so much emotion, Brother Scott, that I don't need to whip it up. It gets whipped up all by itself.
Yep, yep.
It is.
And I I love watching it. I love seeing those clips of those old stage performances and the crowd. It's just it's all stirred up, it's just this manic musical genius. It's just so wonderful to watch, man. I look out my window. And you got a song called "Same Game" on this record, and it's a socially aware statement. Mainstream voices of evil lying to us. Um, I look out my window, and there's trouble. It reminds me of 1968. And I just watched a show about that year, and I was born in that year, so. That was a really turbulent time, but I look at it and there's riots in the street and there's this guy against that guy. It's very similar to what we're experiencing. When you lived it, you were a huge part of it, a voice of it. Does it look like that to you? Do you feel 1968 when you look outside? Is it happening again?
It's on a different scale, but much larger. There's many, many, many more souls than there were in 1968. But yeah, there's that confusion that is purposely put into play. It's brought by, and the song says it, you know.
Yep.
And if we can keep that in perspective, and like it was 1968, the people remain together. We don't let anything separate us apart. I like, before we go into American band on stage, I tell the audience, listen, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an American. And bam, we go into it. They get it. Right then, there is some kind of, yes, we are together. This Americans are together. We don't let the crap that they try to use to separate us. We don't let that interfere with who we are. And our rock community, that's what made us strong. That's what will keep us strong.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. We need to get back to that. We need to realize that, and there's so many people that do, and I think that'll win out. I hope so. Um, I hear the clip of "Prisoner." I love that song. It's just so great. I hear that great bass line and some sax in there, right? But your voice, it sounds no different, man. It's just, how do you do it? Is there a vocal regimen? How do you treat and care for your instrument?
I use it. You know, I'm out in the woods. I cut my firewood with electric chainsaw, battery driven 40-volt chainsaw. I'm singing. When I'm hearing that tree starting to go, you know, there's no smoke and you got earmuffs on. You're listening. It's a beautiful thing. I'm out there. I start singing. I'm hearing it coming back off the trees, brother. I'm in the barn. I'm working at the workbench. Start singing. I'm on the tractor going out back. I'm singing to the drone of the motor. You know, there's a tone, pitch being generated, and I'm singing to that pitch. Not only in the shower, but I mean all over the place. And my neighbors are going, "Hey, I heard you out there singing last night."
I love it. I love it. And it reminds me, I had a moment to spend with Paul Rogers, Bad Company Free, and it was kind of the same thing. He's signing things for people. He's singing while he's doing it. He's walking out of the room. He's singing. He comes back into the room. He's singing while and this was after a show.
Yeah.
Just constantly, it's in the soul. It's in the soul.
Yep.
It's an expression, for sure. I want to go quote a lyric in this record, from the first cut on the album. It's Anymore. In the beginning, it was just me and my band, but sad to say that we don't play together anymore. It's not the quantity, it's the honesty, my friends. The story ends, and I'm not angry with them anymore. Again, very personal. I would take it that is a message for Don and Mel, and that story. Would that be correct?
It's a message for the fans to understand the story.
Right.
And yeah, for Don and Mel, if I didn't have forgiveness in my heart, if that wasn't what was driving me, maybe something else would have come out. But I really believe in forgiveness. I believe that that's what Jesus Christ was all about. And the debt consciousness that plagues mankind is it's dissolvable by forgiveness. It really is. That's the only thing that keeps us apart, is this unforgiveness and the pride and the nature of people, that they think that they're doing something. They get all puffed up and the ego takes over, and that pride of me. But man, we got to keep that under wraps. We got to keep the reins on it and pull it in. And that song, brother, it was Mark Slaughter, and I both wrote that song, and he had a lot to do with that part that you just recited. And as we are singing it, I mean, in the studio, I'm on the mic, I'm singing, I've done the first verse, and he's going, "Yeah, I'm hearing this," and I'm going, "Oh my God, I'm feeling that, man. That's what I'm gonna sing." And so him and I co-wrote this song. I gave him 50% songwriter on it because he's made that much of a contribution in my estimation. And he's a brother. He's seriously, he's all about love. And his Jesus is the same Jesus mine,
Yeah.
we have the same one. And we're both cussing Christians. Yeah.
He uh he has been on the show a couple times. I love Mark. He is such a great human, and a great musician and songwriter. So it's it's lovely to hear that you are working with him on this. And this is a really special song for me. I think for fans, because it is forgiveness, and love is forgiveness, and it's got a great heart to it. It was really great to hear.
Thank you.
Do you see yourself on stage? Like, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has to recognize Grand Funk eventually, right? I mean, it's all political. We know that. Um, but you can't ignore it. They're going to ask you to and Don and Mel to do something there. Do you ever see yourself doing that one time, maybe at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I have been praying. I have been attempting to, have the band get back together for the sake of the fans that love us. Really, Scott, there's only three people on the planet that can make that noise.
You're all alive and well.
Word, word, word.
It's
Confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
It's a shame as a fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would all love to see that, for sure. Uh,
Amen.
you saw at Shea Stadium. Is that the gig you remember most? That's huge. What a great gig. Is there a recording of that show? Will we ever see that?
There is a recording, 35 millimeter film as well, but it's held in the possession of the corporation which tours as Grand Funk, because Don and Mel are 2/3 and I'm only 1/3 shareholder, even though I wrote 92% of the music.
Right.
They can go out legally and tour as Grand Funk. I always question the honesty involved in these bands that go out, that there's not even one original member, and they're using, they're using the trademark of that band. Fans,
It's
fans,
deceptive.
yeah, fans were not of the mindset that, oh, this is a corporation and people are going to be swapping out places and this and that. No, man, the Beatles, dude, are the Beatles.
Right.
No other four dudes are going to not even swap one out. Forget about it, and
Right.
that's why, I wanted to see them. I could never understand why they didn't bury the hatchet and just put it back together for us fans. I
Yeah.
really wanted to see those guys live, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I can understand why the fans, Grand Funk fans, would want to see us. And I pray that someday that Don and Mel will bury the hatchet. And even if it's like, we got to be on 3 separate buses, like some of the groups that we know.
Right.
We can't even tolerate being around each other, but they go out on stage and they do it for the fans.
Yeah.
Man, I give them the kudos for that, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. Because like I say, we'd all love to see that for sure. And we'd love to see a recording of that Shea Stadium gig. I hope that comes out one day. That would be really cool. Um, Ringo Starr. Speaking of the Beatles, and you say that, and I think, what if Paul McCartney went out with some random band, a great band that he has. If he went out and he didn't call himself Paul McCartney, he called himself the Beatles, that would never fly. I mean, that would never ever fly. But you
Oh,
have, Farner going out there. They don't have any original members, but it flies for some
yeah,
reason.
yeah,
People buy it, and they're
yeah,
great. I mean, I would never, they're a great band, but I question if they are actually Foreigner. But
yeah,
that's all beside the point. But I think about that and the Beatles. Each guy did his own thing. Ringo, he does the All-Star Band
yeah.
gig. You did that. That had to be fun for you, and that had to be a thrill. Working with Ringo. Did you ever bring up the Shea Stadium thing? Hey, I did that in 7 days. It took you 7 weeks.
I didn't say it quite like that, brother.
Yeah, have a
But
conversation about that and kid each other a little bit.
I just brought it up one time, just kind of dropped a little hint of it. Because I didn't want any uh, rips between us, or
Sure, sure.
and and he was such a great guy to work with. He's a down to earth dude, but he is a Beatle, and because he is a Beatle, man, he is plagued by people that want his autograph, that want to talk to him.
Yeah,
But he's a Beatle.
yeah.
Um, but and I don't know if you are aware of this, but he put YouTube thing out saying he was not going to sign any more autographs.
Yeah.
Don't send me stuff. I'm throwing it in the dumpster. Forget about it. But he got to that place in his life where he was just completely overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
Well, when we got together and we did our version of Ringo Starr's All Star Band, Billy Preston, Entwistle,
Wow.
Randy Bachman, Felix Cavalieri,
Yeah.
Zach Starkey on the drums. And Ringo had called me from Monaco and he says, I'm not the drummer on this tour. I said, well, who is? He said, my son, Zach. I went, yes.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. Mark Rivera,
Oh,
what a great band. But we are all in Japan. We get to this press conference, like it was the day after we arrived. And we're up on this podium, and there's all these, magazine people and reporters down, and they're asking questions. And this one little gal comes up and she said, I would like to ask Mr. Farner a question. So I stand up. We're at this table, brother. It's like a long table. Ringo's in the middle, and the band goes down both sides, kind of like a Last Supper thing with Ringo in the middle.
right, right.
I'm down to the right of Ringo, and I stand up, and I said, "Okay, honey, what is your question?" I'm looking down at her. She said, "I want to know what is it like playing with Beatles." And I look over at Ringo and I said, "Listen, honey, Ringo, he puts his pants on one leg at a time, just
Yeah.
like I do." And he got up, and Scotty come over and he said, "Brother," and he's got his arms, "Thank you, thank you." And he kisses me on the side of the face and he's hugging me because I recognized him for just being a guy.
Yeah.
That's a great thing when you have been this monumental thing to people.
Right.
And then, they understand that you're just a human being, eh?
Yep. Yep. And that has to be difficult. That's one of those pitfalls of fame, especially on that level where, you're a comic book character at that point. You're not a human being to people. That's gotta be an out of body experience. It's really strange. Yeah. Um, Zappa involved with producing Good Singing, Good Playing
Mhm.
in '76. Had to be strange experience. You've had Todd Rundgren. You produce We're an American Band and Shining On.
Yeah.
But what are those guys? Were they a big piece of the Grand Funk legacy? Did you enjoy working with them, uh, or was that And they came at difficult times. I realize that Zappa came at a really difficult time in the band. Um, but what was it like working with those guys? With their own set of fame and celebrity, um, to come in and be part of the Grand Funk legacy.
Well, I loved it because the respect that I had, for Todd and Frank and also Jimmy Einer, some kind of wonderful bad time to be in love. Uh, his production of vocals, you know, forget about what he did with the Raspberries.
Yeah.
He could make he made those vocals very lovable. And each one of the producers had their own trademark that they left with us. But it wasn't like this, you could tell, oh, what you could tell was, hey, the two talents work together and look, they nothing was dominant. They worked together, and here is a nice, snowball made from all these different colors, and here it is to enjoy and take a listen to it. And we, absolutely love those guys. They became our brothers.
Ah, that's
Uh,
great. That's
you know,
great to hear. Yeah,
really.
that's good to hear for sure. Um, and this is a really silly question for you, really, I think. If you
Come on.
uh yeah, we'll talk food, your favorite dish. If you had to pick one song to represent your career, the Grand Funk legacy, um, what would that be? And it's got to be I'm Your Captain, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Uh,
doubt about it, brother.
and I talked to Don many, many years ago, and I asked him that question. And, I was fully expecting We're an American Band
Uh-huh.
because that one has his name on it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. But he said Closer to Home. And that was, that warmed my heart. I said, he recognizes it as well. And that was just a beautiful thing to hear.
It
Uh,
just warmed my heart, you saying it, brother.
yeah. And
I did
that's
I
wonderful.
didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
that's that's a lovely thing to discover.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was lovely to hear. It really was. So, because the world knows that, what the world feels that this
Yeah.
is, that's the song for sure. Um, is there anything that you've always wanted to do? You've done so much. You've had your own successful solo career. You did this grand funk thing in your life, changed the world with those songs, really. Um, anything on like a bucket list, something that you've always wanted to do and haven't had the chance?
No, I really enjoy, going out doing live shows, no matter if it's in a an acoustic setting, because I've done some acoustic shows too.
Yeah.
And and that's fun because you can sit and tell stories. I mean, it's more like reliving verbally, doing some explanations and talking with people, fans from the audience asking you questions. It's a very fun for me, for the artist. It's a very satisfying thing to do. But I enjoy playing with the live band. I enjoy them kicking my ass. I love it. I love it. I love it. And when I'm wringing wet, dude, and I am pressing, that's me, man. It's like, oh yeah, you can take me right now.
That's the rock and roll soul, man. And like I say, I watch those old clips, and it's just I really I don't I love music of all kinds, and I've seen bands go out there and just kill it, and there's heart and soul in it. But man, when watch those clips of you three guys, uh, there's no I just can't even explain it. There's just this magic that
Thank
it was just so intense. And I want the songs, there's some things you went on and did 10 minutes of and 7-minute songs, and they're really self-indulgent a lot of times.
you. Yeah,
but I want them to go longer. I'm listening to especially the live album. I'm like,
Yeah.
if that could have just gone a couple more minutes, you know. It I don't, that there's really not a band that's ever done it quite like you guys did with that, you
I
know.
pre-
It's crazy. And I know you love to farm, and I want to talk to you about that.
okay.
What'd you plant this year? I know the garlic is big for you because of the healing qualities of it. Uh,
Yes.
do you continue to plant
Oh, yes.
and harvest?
First, we've got a tree farm here, and the trees are doing great. I mean, we've been here for 38 years. It's been a blessing, really. And but our own personal garden, we have I love greens, collard greens, you know. Um, we do kale. My wife freezes it some and she cans it, pressure cans.
Uh,
We pressure can venison, man. I shoot a deer and
Really?
yeah, man, we put it in, and it doesn't have to be refrigerated as long as it's in the dark in a cool spot.
Right.
Uh, it's good at least 10 years.
Wow.
You don't need electricity to keep it good. You just
Yeah.
need it in that canning jar, the wide mouth quart. Uh,
Awesome.
and we put asparagus in 4 years ago. It really came on good this year. We got heirloom tomatoes. Everything that we grow is heirloom. We don't grow hybrid, genetically modified. I think genetically modified is man wanting to be recognized as God. And there's really only one character that can actually do that. I think the imitation sucks,
Yeah.
and that the real deal, I like real corn. I like real tomatoes, like an heirloom tomato salad. You can't do that with store-bought pink tomatoes.
Right. Right.
uh, we also plant strawberries. To we did rutabaga, turnips, beets, parsnips, everything heirloom, carrots, whole beans,
Wow.
onions, cabbage, three different types of squash, including patty pans, summer squash, and butternut, and heirloom corn that was 13 feet tall
Wow.
till the raccoons got a hold of it.
Of course they did. Wow, 13 feet, really?
Yeah, man.
Wow, that's
Big stuff.
incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible. And I mean, that's why you look the way you look. You're looking great, my friend. You really,
Thank
really are. And you're eating healthy and you're living off the land.
you.
It's a beautiful thing. It really, really is. And I love to hear that. It's great. Will we see a tour for this record? Will you be out? I know you love to play.
Yep.
Uh, are you going to do an extensive tour? Are you going to go around the country?
Yeah, there's uh, our agent at TKO, Jim Lenz, is putting some dates together for us, and my manager, Abby Steinman. Um, they're they're doing what they can to fire it up. But since the whole COVID thing, the music business, well, along with every other kind of business, kind of hit the skids,
Yeah.
except for the scammers. Man, they really did good.
Of course. Isn't that always the way?
Yeah, but we're looking forward to doing the U.S. And some more South America stuff, and Mexico is looking at us and wanting us to come back. Mexicans love my band in particular because we love them, and we go down there and eat some of that. They don't have that problem with the glyphosate and all of that crap because
Yeah.
they just don't use it. They don't need it.
Nope. Nope. Yeah. I look forward to it, Mark. I love seeing you here, having you here. It's such an honor. I love
Thank you.
seeing you making music still, and giving us these gifts of your talent, and it's so appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your heart for music and your heart for the fans.
Yeah.
God bless you. And thanks for having me on. Anytime you want me, let's do it.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Mark. Much
Yeah.
love. All right. Bye bye now.
Bye for now.
Bye.